Hi, welcome to a special edition of Education Matters, Lessons Learned during this pandemic. Today we'll be focusing in on the social emotional concerns of our students and staff during this pandemic. With me is Dr. Kathleen Taylor from the Ocean City School District. Welcome, Kathy. How are you?
Good, thank you, Ray, and thank you for having me today and speaking with me. I appreciate that.
I know you've always been concerned about the social emotional well-being of your students, you know, pre-pandemic, and that was a big focus of yours. Um, as we went over the summer and we started looking at opening the schools in September, what were your thoughts? First, how did you open? Were you hybrid? Were you some people opting out?
Well, it's a good question. During the summer, we surveyed our parents and received feedback of what they were hoping we would do. And overwhelmingly, it was hybrid, that the parents wanted to have their children come into schools. So we went with that model. We had a very low percent wanting to go to full remote. We call it our virtual academy. Less than 10%. So we were surprised with that, but we were happy about that because really we do believe students belong in schools. I think we all do. And we all can't wait for that day that we're all back in school on a regular routine. So we opened school on time in the hybrid. We've been open every day except our Wednesdays are our remote facilitation day, but we have been open every day. Knock on wood, I say even today, we're still open. We have not had to close our school for quarantine period. So we're hoping stay the course.
All right, so we know how you're doing your instruction. How do you deal with the social emotional well-being of your students during this pandemic? Because it's hard to have that. You had that the wellness room, if I remember correctly.
Right.
How are you dealing with that? Are students still using that to a certain degree?
Yes, they are. We have it in our primary school too. So we have it in each of our 3 schools. And it really, though, is in having the center before pandemic, the students would come to the center. Now we had to take the center to them. And that's what the change we've brought into our schools of pushing out into to the children's home, the students' home, and bringing the wellness to them. So it's wellness right at their doorstep, on their computer. So that's how we're doing it through virtual wellness. But we also have our wellness centers open when the students are in school and they stop in. It's been busy. It's been the sense of community coming together, particularly at our community lunch. We had to scale that back because the number of students in a center. So it's been different. There's adjustments that we've had to make with regards to how we're going to do that, keep our distance, wear the mask. So I think this virtual wellness has helped to take the mask off, obviously, and bring the wellness staff to the student at a much closer way.
Did you have to, I mean, we all have our plans in theory on paper in August for September. Did you have to make any adjustments in anything as you went along into October to deal with any of this?
We began to really look at what we call concurrent teaching, which is some other districts may call live streaming. And so we had to make some adjustments to our upload speed, download speed to be able to do that. So we're really pushing that out in the high school into the core subject areas, and we'll begin to further expand that as we go. That's one change that we've had to make. We also, because of going into the high risk status now, as other counties are in the orange, we had to change the high school schedule because of the concern about community lunch, where all of our students are off at the same time and not being able to maintain 6 feet distance or 6 foot distance and have their mask off so they can eat. So with that, we changed our schedule for the high school. Actually, now the cohort will come every other day into school, and then it frees up in the afternoon for teachers to make contact with students, whether they're home or they were in school in the morning and then went home. So actually, we've increased the teacher contact time, teacher-student contact time daily now. We did not necessarily have that in the beginning, because if I'm teaching in class and I have my remote class, I wasn't able to do both. So we've changed it with the live streaming, the concurrent teaching, and we also changed our high school schedule. And actually, as a result of that change in the high school schedule, we have grab and go lunch. More students are taking lunch now than they did when they were here.
Wow.
Or lunch. Yeah, so that's a good, that we weren't anticipating that. We weren't sure if students would actually grab the bag lunch on the way out, but they have, so that's good.
For the social emotional well-being of your students, is it better, that change, having more contact with the teacher, or at least for the teacher to monitor them? That makes a big difference.
It does. It really does. It was the teacher's number one concern. It was the students. It was the parents, and then so we making this change has really helped that, particularly now as we're into starting the winter months, and they're not outside, they're not playing sports, not necessarily having the extracurricular activities. So having that daily contact, the ability to have that daily contact with teacher was really a game changer, really and I think has helped lessen some of that anxiety by the students, as I said, and the teachers, but also the parents.
Okay, let's move on. Everyone's under a lot of stress. There's no one who's not. What about the social emotional well-being of your staff? Because I've talked to some teachers, and what they tell me, and I completely believe it, is this is like their first year teaching.
It is.
I mean, they just have to learn everything all over. And that, if you remember someone's first year teaching, that was probably their most stressful. So how do we try to deal with that as an administration?
Well, that is exactly what teachers have said. This is my first year teaching. And we said, well, we feel the same way as administrators. It's almost the first year of being an administrator, of working through this environment and all the things that we have to consider and plan and organize for. I think giving them time to be able to do that, creating time in the day so that they can do this asynchronous lesson. We also lessons and also contact with the students, preparing for that dual world of in-person as well as remote. So what we did is, because of that stress, that anxiety, we actually converted our remote facilitation day from being a full day for students to a early dismissal day, and then gave the afternoon to the teachers to prepare their lessons. So we gave them a bigger block of time to do this work, and that has helped too. Time is a great resource.
Yeah. And what about the anxiety of the parents? Because a lot of parents are working from home, trying to help their kids with the schoolwork, trying to do their own work. Is there anything that you can do for the parents? You mentioned it before, trying to reduce the anxiety among the parents.
I sending out communications to them, letting them know what we're doing the surveys, and then taking that feedback and going, all right, parents, this is what you shared with us, and this is what we're doing about it. This is what you said. This is how we're doing it. So they know, and that we're listening and we take action. So much so that at our last board meeting in November, the parents it really came to a boil, I have to say. And it was a lengthy school board meeting, at listening to the parents' concerns, questions that they had, and issues they brought up. As a result of that, the school board formed a COVID committee, and we have a medical doctor on our board So he's the chair of this COVID committee. We also have a board member who works in pharmaceutical company and also is a lawyer for them. So he's also on the committee. And then that committee expanded and included other parents in our district who are in the medical field and who have students in our schools. So we're working together, and they're guiding and helping me and the administrators and all the district with regards to, what is the transmission rate? What do we need to do? Could we begin to look at bringing back certainly our primary school students 5 days a week? But now they're helping sharing information, getting information out about the vaccine so that we can let our staff know, our parents know, or, students, well, not necessarily them because they won't necessarily be getting the vaccine, but certainly the staff and the parents know that this is happening and what our plans are. So that committee has been a great resource for schools, having that medical committee working with us. So that's been wonderful.
So,
and I think helps lessen, and then responding back to parents and saying, we heard you. This is what we're doing. We're doing this, 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 and this.
So I guess the key to dealing with everyone's social, emotional, and the stress is communication, no matter who it is, not just the parents, the staff, the students, so everyone knows we're all in this together, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Yes. Listening, really listening to what is said, in October, parents, not many, but a few parents would call me and ask, we have to get back to 5 days of school. I have to have this. They have to come back into school. And so then we began, I talk with the parents, why do you think this is it? What is it that has you worried, or what are you concerned about? And then when you get to it, it was this, I feel my child is pulling away from school. I feel that they're not engaged. And so then you can talk about, all right, here's ways that we can make sure your child's engaged. We can do this or this and this and this. Oh, that'll be great. Because they think if they're in there for 5 days, boy, the problem goes away. No, the problem doesn't go away. It's your child is reacting to all what's going on. So we need to help your child, and this is how we can do it.
Okay. I'd like to thank Dr. Kathleen Taylor from the Ocean City School District down in Cape May County for her thoughts on the lessons that she's learned and how she's coping with the pandemic in her district. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this program.